and welcome to ACS Golf and this week's review. I'm looking at the most unwanted Scotty Cameron out there. So basically the cheapest Scotty Cameron that you can pick up from second-hand stores such as Second Swing in the US and Golf Clubs for Cash over here in the UK and even on eBay. Don't get me wrong, you might go to, I know, car boot sale or, a random sale in the yard or something like that and pick up a Scotty Cameron for cheaper because they don't know what it is. However, this is definitely generally the cheapest Scotty Cameron on the market. And I've picked this up because I wanted to see if it still performs like a Scotty. Even though people generally don't want it, can you go out, pick up a Scotty Cameron and have it perform like a Scotty Cameron should? Feel great, great roll, great balance, great alignment aids, etc., etc., and great quality. This putter might not look the best, however, can it still perform like a Scotty Cameron should? Because I'm a huge fan of Scotty Cameron. I've had Scotty Camerons in the bag for the years and years. Currently, I don't. I do have one of the new lab putters in the bag, but without a heartbeat, I would put a Scotty Cameron back in the bag because I think they're great. I think they perform great. I think they look great. They're generally great premium putters. And I wanted to see if this putter is still in that sort of Scotty Cameron frame. And potentially if it is, you guys can go out, pick it up, and then save yourself some money and play with a great Scotty Cameron putter, even if maybe perhaps you need to get over the looks of this putter. So the putter in question is this. It is the Scotty Cameron Caliente, I believe that's how I pronounce it, Caliente Grand from, I believe, 1998, perhaps a little bit earlier. I can't really find that much information about this putter, actually. Normally on Scotty Cameron, you have like an archive. They show all the putters, but a few of them are missing from their sort of older putter ranges. And this is one of them on their website. It is an official Scotty Cameron putter, so do not be worried, but it's just missing off their website for some reason. So yeah, so here it is. Let's be honest, straight off the bat, you can say not exactly the most attractive Scotty Cameron you've ever seen, but will it perform like a Scotty Cameron? And therefore save yourself some money because, we'll go through the ACS Golf Scale in a second where we're talking about prices, etc. at the end of this video. However, I will give a little bit of a spoiler. This is probably majority of the time, if not all the time, the only Scotty Cameron you will find is under £100 and under $100. There you go. I mean, you're talking about the same price as probably your old school Odyssey putters, to be fair. So potentially it could be an absolute bargain. All right, guys, as always, what we're going to do is we're going to have a closer look at this club. I'm going to talk through the build of it and the technology that I could find about it, which I did manage to find online. We're going to get down to the putting green. I'm going to talk through, the feel of it, what I thought about this putter as I was, really testing it out on the putting green when I hit, lots and lots of putts with it. So I really wanted to get a feel of it. And then we'll come back here and go through the ACS Golf Scale. All right. First things first, let's have a look at this, I'd say, odd looking Scotty Cameron putter. So there you go. And like I said, it's not a looker, is it? Compared to other Scotty Camerons, they're all bits of art, Scotty Cameron for me. They produce some really good looking putters. I think I probably prefer the older putters, to be honest. Maybe in the 2000s sort of mark, we had some really nice, good looking putters. Not too sure about their more modern stuff. Maybe that will grow on me in the future, but they're all really good putters. The amount of work that's put into them is a huge amount and they are great. But this doesn't really, it's not the same sort of mold as other putters. It just looks a little bit odd. However, it could still be a great putter. And some of you watching might not mind the look of this. You might still think it's a really nice looking putter. But anyway, let's get into technology that I have found about this putter. So This Scotty Cameron Caliente Grand putter features a larger milled aluminium head with a double bend shaft. You can see that there. The putter is milled from aluminium, as I've mentioned, providing a soft yet solid feel. I definitely agree with that. The sole of the putter prevents turf drag, so you sort of see there, they've sort of filed down that sole to really, help with that turf interaction with putting stroke, just in case you might duff it a little bit. For a smoother stroke with multiple sight lines, as I've mentioned, the Caliente makes it easier to square up to the target and keep aim. I do like the sight lines. It reminds me a bit of a zebra, to be fair. It does. It's a pretty much a carbon copy of the classic zebra putters that used to be a huge thing back in the day when you had all the lines there, and they're actually back as well. Obviously, if you can pick this up, I mean, like I said, I think it's 1998 earlier. Now, I actually have the original Titleist grip on this. You'll probably find it hard to find. And an original shaft as well, even though it is quite pitted, this. And I managed to, the reason I picked this one up, I don't know, I actually got the original head cover. What a weird head cover it is. Leather, good build, just a bit odd, like this putter is. And that's the thing, it's just odd, isn't it? It's just odd. And then there you go. That's all the technology I can find from this. So it's an aluminium milled face, and milled and basically aluminium head. It's not CNC milled, it's not steel, it is aluminium. And you do definitely have a weighting perimeter around here to help with the balance there. I don't know what's that made of. I just know it is there. If you know, do let me know in the comments down below. All right, so that's what I know about this putter. Now, let's get down to the course. As I mentioned, I got to the putting green, and I'll talk through my finds with this. Then we'll come back here for the ACS Golf Skill. I'm at the practice green with the putter at Silvermere, and this is actually the first putt I ever hit with it, and straight in the hole. I'm really happy with that. Anyway, let's get into my thoughts about this putter. Firstly, those alignment aids, I think they're really, really good. To have those 3 lines on the top really did help with me lining the putter up, which is great. It's one reason I don't particularly play a blade. I love blades, I love the feel of them, I love the look of them, but I just like something a little bit bigger behind the ball to really help with that alignment, which is perfect for this because it is great. Obviously, a few of the putts did miss maybe to the left there, but that was just me misreading the green rather than the putter itself. Coming down to feel now, being that aluminium construction and milled face rather than your sort of your steel, high quality steel they sort of use nowadays, and the milling techniques they use nowadays was definitely improved from 1998. It's not as soft as a more modern putter. It's still soft, but it's definitely got that little bit firmer feel to it, and the ball definitely seemed to sort of not explode off the front of the face, but definitely did sort of pop off the front of the face a little bit. So I did find at first distance control was a bit of an issue, but it's definitely something I could completely dial in. And a lot of the putts, I will say, I was hitting past the hole, which is a positive for me. There's nothing worse than leaving it short. So generally there, I was very happy with it. And the feel still wasn't that bad. You could just tell maybe the milling wasn't as deep as you would get with a modern putter, or maybe the materials being used, aluminium, doesn't quite have the same softness as other materials used in modern day putters. But overall wise, it still felt really, really nice. It's still soft enough and firm enough. I was happy with that. Now on to sort of the putter itself. The balance of this putter was insane. I use a lab putter. I use a Mez one, supposed to be like live face angle balance. There you go, lab. Supposed to be one of the most well balanced putters out there. And for me, this putter felt as good, if not better, than the labs when I was, putting it back in my stroke. It's just so well balanced. I just felt that every time I swung the club, that face was going to be still going at the angle I wanted it to. The weight of it as well was really, really nice. It just felt like a proper premium putter that's been built really, really well, and gave me confidence over the ball, which when it comes down to putting is really, really needed. Now, obviously the looks aren't for everyone, but I was really, really impressed with the performance of this. It's definitely a putter that potentially I could put in the bag, to be honest. If I wanted to take the lab out, or someone said you can't use the lab, you got to use another putter, it should probably be the first one I go for, that I actually have in the office at the moment. It's just a joy to hit, really confidence inspiring. The roll of it as well was really, really good, you know, end over end, no sort of bobbles or anything like that. Just a really good performing putter. Very, very happy with it. Well, what can I say? I really enjoyed hitting this. I generally really, really enjoyed hitting it. Like I mentioned, you know, it's quite firm off the face, as it says, you know, this aluminium, you know, it's supposed to be quite firm, but yet, you know, feel soft. It relatively did feel soft, but because of that firmer sort of contact, I definitely found that the ball was coming out a little bit hotter than maybe I'd expect with your more sort of modern sort of Scotty Camerons, you know, which have that, you know, the milled face from their sort of, you know, CNC steel or whatever they use nowadays, which is definitely a little bit more softer than this aluminium face. But still, it's still relatively soft. It just pinged off the face a little bit faster than I'd necessarily expect from a Scotty Cameron, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So going into the ACS Golf Scale, so remember we've got distance control now for putters, which is the new one I'm bringing in, feel, looks, price, and forgiveness. So distance control for me, I've given this a 4 out of 5. At first, I did quite struggle with it. I did quite hit it a little bit too far past the hole, but then in the end of the day, you know, I much prefer hitting it past the hole, you know, because then, you know, if you're online, you're going to get it in. I hate it when you're short, to be honest, but because of this aluminium face, you know, it wasn't quite as soft as I was expecting. As I said, it did come quite fast off the face. I found distance control good, but not perfect. So I've given it a 4 out of 5, which is still very, very good. And I'm sure the more I use this putter, the more I could get used to it. But off the bat, you know, with all the parts I did, I'm giving it distance control of 4 out of 5, which is, you know, very good. Feel, as I mentioned, you know, it still feels soft, but there is that firmness there. So I've given it a 4 out of 5. A lot of you guys watching this will love the feel of that, who prefer a firmer feel. Personally, I definitely love a softer feel. I just feel like it gives me a little bit more control, especially, you know, I'm quite punchy with my putts, you know, put maybe a little bit too much force into it. So I prefer the softer feel because the ball comes off a little bit slower. You know, on general greens I play like Silvermere, where I'm a member, etc., where they're not the fastest greens and it works quite well. However, the moment I'm on sort of, you know, championship courses or, you know, some really high end courses where the greens are rapid, you know, lightning, you know, we're talking, you know, up to tournament level sort of speed, and I find something that's relatively a bit firmer, I really struggle distance and it can just go way past the hole. However, generally, you know, 4 out of 5, I did like the feel of this. It was good, but it is a little bit on the firmer side, so do be aware. Looks wise, I've given it a 2 out of 5. It's a weird shape, you know, and I just feel like the finish, because it's aluminium and it's a little bit older, it just doesn't age very well. And you've obviously seen that close up. You know, this is definitely built for function rather than look, which isn't a bad thing. You know, we want our putter to work. Um, but yeah, just not the look for me. You know, I'm not a massive fan of these sort of half moon shaped putters. You know, a bigger mallet if I'm going to use a mallet, or a fanged mallet. So yeah, 2 out of 5. I just think the finish isn't really there because it's aluminium, the milling possibly, obviously the bottom sole plate as well. Maybe if they added a little bit more colour to it or tried to change the finish a little bit more, then, you know, I might think it's a little bit better. But it's just a little bit grey and dull and boring, to be fair, which is a shame because Scotty Cameron's normally very pretty putters, so especially, you know, it's all their blades. So 2 out of 5 for me, not the looks that I quite like. Going on to forgiveness, obviously this is a mallet putter. You have that perimeter around there. It is, I'd say, more of a half mallet, not a full mallet. So I give it a 4 out of 5 for forgiveness. You know, off-centered hits tend to maybe be pushed a little bit, but they still had the distance. So I was relatively happy with the forgiveness. So it is a 4 out of 5. Not your ultra forgiving mallet like, you know, say the Lab 2.1 thing that's massive, or maybe this Scotty Cameron Phantom here, which is, you know, more chunkier, bigger mallet. But for its size, exactly what I'd expect for forgiveness, to be fair. So 4 out of 5. And one thing I'll add to that, and I'm quite shocked to say this is probably one of the most well balanced putters I've ever tried. It really is. The balance on this thing is insane. You know, and I use a lab putter. I don't know where my lab putter is, somewhere in my bag. I use a lab putter, you know, it's supposed to be ultimate lie angle balance and all this sort of stuff. And part of me felt like this is actually better balanced than the lab putter. Just the whole way I stroked, picked it up, put the stroke through, I just felt so confident with it staying on track. I felt so confident about the balance. It's just so well weighted as well. The whole thing about the momentum of it is just brilliant. It's really, really good and really, really shocked me. You know, straight away, it was like, yes, this is a Scotty Cameron putter. Yes, they put a lot of thought into this. Yes, it might not look brilliant, but the whole thing performs really, really well and it's so well balanced. You know, I was really, really shocked with that. You know, so yeah, if I did a balance, you know how I think the balance of the putter is, this would be a 5 out of 5. It was so good. I was really, really shocked with it. As I've already mentioned, you know, at the green, it was just, that was awesome. You know, it really was. Now on to the price. So, you know, if you're looking on a second-hand market, like I mentioned, you're looking at sort of £59, £40, £43. You know, in US, you're sort of £75. You know, $74, sorry, $74, sort of 50, it's not £74, $74, $50, you know, $54. So you're looking between 50 to say $75. You're looking between like sort of 40 to maybe £60 for this. It is an absolute bargain. Yes, it doesn't look great, but the balance of this thing in the head and the way it performs, the roll was brilliant as well. It was really, really nice roll. You know, I've tried quite a few putters this year because I've changing putters and I put a lab in the bag, and I would put this putter in the bag without, you know, straight away. You know, if someone said, all right, your lab's got to come out, you know, you're playing a tournament this weekend, your lab's out, you can't use your lab, you've got these putters behind you, what are you going to take? I'd probably take this. I generally would probably take this. You know, you got the alignment aid there, made it really easy to line up, and the balance of it was just insane. I just, you know, it was great. Yes, it's a little bit firmer on sort of the hits, and I'll probably take a little bit more to get used to, but just because of the balance and the roll of everything, it was just really, really good. So really, really happy with that. So yeah, it probably would be this. To be honest, it was great. It was actually great. So yeah, so because of how well this performed, price 5 out of 5. I mean, personally, if you're looking at Odyssey around the same price and probably only a couple of years newer than this, I think this is better. The Odyssey might look nicer, but this is gonna perform better. This is an amazing putter, it really is. So let's get into my overall review of this Scotty Cameron Caliente Grand putter. If you can get over the looks, you can pick yourself up an amazing, amazing putter. Like I mentioned, one of the best balanced putters I've tried this year. You know, and I've done 2 reviews of lab putters. You know, it's just lost my voice there. Try and bring my voice back again. It is just insane. It is absolutely insane. The balance of it, the roll of it, the feel of it. Yes, a little bit firmer, but look, you guys will like it. The alignment aids. It's just a really, really well produced putter. Yes, the looks of it, you know, you're going to have to get used to it, but overall, it is great. And so it's quite weird to think this is one of the cheapest out there. And I think it's the cheapest out there because of the looks, because, you know, it's an old putter. People are buying it as a collectible. They don't want to buy this collectible. However, if you're buying it to use it, get it, because you will not be disappointed. You'll have a Scotty Cameron in the bag that performs exactly how you'd expect a Scotty Cameron to perform. Outstanding putter, and definitely one that I would suggest, if anyone, you know, who likes this shape, to go out and get. Do go out and get it, because it is insanely good. It really is. I was really surprised. I wasn't expecting it when I picked this up for it to perform so well, you know, with that balance and everything like that. It is a really, really good putter, and I'm really, really surprised about it, but also really, really happy because it means you guys can go out and buy yourself a Scotty Cameron for £40, $50 or whatever, and have a really, really good one. Obviously, do be a little bit careful. These are quite old, so, you know, you're going to have to probably keep your eye out to get one in relatively good condition. But if you do, you won't be disappointed, because like I mentioned, you know, I could happily put this in a bag straight away and get some really good performances with it. I mean, to be fair, if it was summer, you know, I probably would put it in the bag. However, it's not. We're in autumn here in the UK and it's raining and it's going to be a bit mushy out there. And I'd like to keep this in a little bit good condition because next summer, who knows, it might go in the bag for a couple of rounds because it is that enjoyable and that good. Really is a Scotty Cameron putter. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed my review of the Scotty Cameron Caliente Grand putter. It might not look like a Scotty Cameron, but believe me, it performs like a Scotty Cameron. It really does. Now, if you enjoyed this video, do give it a like. Remember to subscribe to the channel as well and hit that bell icon so you do not miss out on any upcoming reviews and extra videos. Remember, obviously, subscribing is free, doesn't cost you anything. And also comment down below, you know, have you ever played with a Scotty Cameron Caliente Grande? If you have, Grand. If you have, let me know down in the comments down below. I'd love to know your thoughts about it because personally, I think it's absolutely fantastic. All right, guys, I'll see you soon for the next ACS golf video. See you then.